Most people believe life is something they must manage. They believe reality is unstable, unpredictable, something that needs constant control. So they plan, they visualize, they affirm, they force belief, they try to stay positive, they try to hold the vibration. And yet, the harder they try, the more exhausted they become. Because what they were never told is this: reality does not respond to effort. Reality responds to position. Not what you do, not what you repeat, not what you convince yourself of, but where you are standing from inside. This video is not about manifestation. It's about why control was never your role, and why the moment you stop managing life, life begins managing itself around you. Control does not come from power. Control comes from fear. Fear that if you don't intervene, things will fall apart. Fear that if you stop thinking, stop visualizing, stop monitoring, you'll lose momentum. But ask yourself honestly, if reality truly depended on your effort, why does it feel so heavy? Why does manifestation feel like a job? Why does rest feel dangerous? Here is the truth most teachings avoid. Control is the behavior of an identity that does not feel safe being. The moment you feel the need to manage outcomes, you are already positioned after reality, not before it. You're reacting, and reaction is never creative. Everything you experience flows from identity, not personality, not habits, not goals. Identity. Identity is not what you say you are. It is what feels unquestioned. It is the silent of course beneath your thoughts. Of course things are hard. Of course nothing sticks. Of course I have to keep trying. That, of course, is the real creator. And until identity shifts, no amount of technique can override it. This is why control fails. Because control tries to manipulate reality from an identity that still feels uncertain. And reality always obeys the deeper position. Effort is not wrong. But effort from lack reinforces lack. Trying to manifest love confirms, I am without love. Trying to attract money confirms, I am not supported. Trying to fix yourself confirms, I am broken. Reality does not judge this. It simply mirrors it. This is not punishment. It is precision. Reality is not responding to your words. It is responding to your state. Consciousness does not move through steps. It moves through states. A state is not a mood, not a thought, not a visualization. A state is a location of being. When you enter a state, you stop asking how, because how only exists outside the state. Inside the state, things feel normal, calm, ordinary, unforced. That's how you know you're there. In the physical world, time appears linear, past, present, future. But consciousness does not move in lines. It moves in positions. The moment you enter the state of it is already done, time collapses. Waiting disappears. And waiting is not neutral. Waiting assumes distance. Certainty removes distance. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is not excitement. It's calm, grounded, boring, in the best way. It feels like something you don't need to check on. That's the signal. Once the state is entered, the outcome becomes inevitable. Not forced, not rushed, not dramatic, unavoidable. Sometimes nothing changes immediately. You wake up, and the same conditions are still there. The same faces, the same conversations, the same reflections staring back at you. It can feel discouraging, as if nothing you've done mattered. But this moment is misunderstood, because delay is not denial, it is integration. Old conditions linger, not because your new state failed, but because the old one had momentum. Reality does not update instantly. It echoes. Like a sound bouncing in a canyon, What you see now is often yesterday's assumption still finishing its reverberation. This does not mean you failed. It means the mirror is updating. And here is where most people collapse back. They react, they analyze, they check, they emotionally respond. And reaction is expensive. Reaction pulls you back into the old position. Not because the world is powerful, but because identity is magnetic. The moment you argue with appearances, you step back into the role of someone waiting for proof. Instead, adjust inward, quietly, gently. Return to the state, not by forcing thoughts, not by repeating affirmations, but by remembering, I am already standing where this is true. Reality does not lead, it follows. And when you stop needing proof, proof begins appearing, often in subtle, unannounced ways. This is not surrender. This is authority. Authority does not demand. It assumes. Control assumes separation. It assumes life is out there and you are in here. It assumes you must manage, manipulate, or force reality into compliance. But consciousness does not operate that way, because consciousness is not inside reality. Reality is inside consciousness. You don't manage a dream from inside the dream. You wake up. And the moment you wake up, the dream reorganizes automatically. Trying to control life is like rearranging furniture inside a dream while still asleep. Exhausting, endless, ineffective. The shift is not effort, it is awakening. When you stop trying to steer, you begin to stand. And standing is different from striving. Standing is identity. From identity, movement happens on its own. Not because you pushed, but because the foundation changed. Control tightens, being loosens. And in that looseness, things realign naturally. No one is chosen by fate. There is no cosmic lottery, no external authority deciding your worth. The difference has always been assumption. When you believe you must be chosen, you wait. Waiting creates distance. Waiting reinforces the identity of not yet. But when you choose the state, you step into consequences immediately. Choice is not action. It is an inner decision, silent, undramatic, instant. No announcement, no emotional spike, no evidence required. Just a quiet shift. This is who I am now. And the moment that decision is made, reality has no option but to reorganize. You were never meant to audition for life. You were meant to occupy your place. Part 9. Power is stillness, expanded. Real power is not intensity. It is not urgency. It is not obsession. It is not emotional force. Real power is stillness. It is the absence of inner noise. It is the ability to remain when nothing confirms you yet. Stillness does not react. It does not chase. It does not explain itself. And that is not weakness. That is sovereignty. When you can stay grounded while the world is quiet, or even contradictory, you have stepped into authorship. The world responds to who remains steady, not to who begs. Now slow down. Really slow down. There is nothing to fix, nothing to chase, nothing to force, just presence, just awareness, just being. You were never meant to control reality. You were meant to stand as the place reality moves from. Let this settle, not in your thoughts, but in your body. Feel the absence of urgency. Feel the quiet certainty. And let these words land gently. I am grounded. I am settled. I am no longer waiting. Not because circumstances changed, but because I did. This is not affirmation. This is recognition. And recognition is the highest form of manifestation. If this resonates, comment below. I am, not for validation, but as a declaration. And if you feel the pull to go deeper, beyond effort, beyond techniques, into being itself, Subscribe to the second channel. We don't build there, we remain. Because circumstances obey consciousness, delay is preparation, and everything changes the moment you stop trying and start being.